Bigfoot Collectors Club with Michael and Riley. I know a story of high strangeness or two. Let's do this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillian, and with me always is the sentimental sommelier,
Riley Bray, sentimental sommelier.
Sommelier. That was submitted by 34-year-old man over on the BCC Discord.
Doing great. You don't look a day over 33.
I mean, this is maybe my favorite handle that we've had over there so far.
There's a lot of wordplay going on there, yeah.
Sentimental sommelier. Sorry, I fucked it up. First,
I'm pouring glasses of synth with a great, sweet sentiment.
That's right. That was my first mistake of 2026, by the way.
Hey, you know what? Get it out of the way.
Getting it started now. Won't be the last. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
It's just your boys this week. We're doing things a little bit differently this year. Usually we end the month with an L-Files episode, but this year we're kicking it off with an L-Files episode. And then I have a very personal paranormal update, I guess, for Riley and everybody that we'll get into. But Happy New Year, Riley.
Happy New Year. I mean, it's not quite New Year behind me. I haven't even decorated the tree yet that just landed directly behind my desk.
Just pretend you've taken all the ornaments off.
Right, yes. I'm about to go do my yearly tradition of chopping it up with a sword.
Yeah, that's right. I forget that you do that. Do you really do that?
Every year. It's a good way. You got to cut it down. You might as well use a sword, you know?
Yeah, no, it's true.
The logic holds.
What music are you playing while you chop your tree up with a sword?
Either like metal or just like abstract ambient, you know?
Yeah.
Depending on the mood of the year.
So basically just the music you always have playing?
I guess, yeah.
Are you using a broadsword or a katana? I cannot remember.
It's a katana purchased from eBay. Battle ready, as it said in the description.
Amazing. This was like when Naruto Run to Area 51 was taking off and people were like, hey,
I just want to be prepared, you know?
Just arm up now.
Yeah.
That's great. Yes, we are in the time machine. It's 2026 for you. It's still 2025 for us, but that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because Riley and I have actually not seen each other or spoken to each other in about the same amount of time as the holiday break. So
that's true. Yeah.
Riley, you've been on adventures, haven't you?
I have been. The last week was crazy. I went to New York to play drums for Pussy Riot at a festival at this place called Powerhouse International. It's this really cool art space in Brooklyn that it's a whole building with like a bunch of floors, and they have all these art studios of like every kind of thing, like down to like machining and like really modern stuff. And then also all these like maker spaces. And then there's a big open hall, and they did I think it was the first year of this festival they're doing there. And it was awesome. We played on this circular stage in the round.
Cool.
It was fun. Yeah, it was really fun. But then I went directly from there to Antigua, Guatemala, which was also very tricky packing.
Yeah.
This is very cold in New York. And I had all my drum stuff with me. So I had to like coordinate, send that back. Okay. And then go to Guatemala. And then I officiated my cousin's wedding, which was really fun. And Michael and I are now co-ministers.
Welcome to the Universal Church, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. Yes, the Universal Life Church. So, you know, maybe we'll perform a wedding. We'll see.
I mean, we have talked about just launching BCC weddings.
Yeah, we could get you married. We could DJ. We got the whole thing locked down.
It's only $100,000.
Yes, please. If anyone's dad is like the CEO of Oracle or something and wants to get married, you know,
you're the like rich kid that instead of Taylor Swift or Nicki Minaj, you get Bigfoot Collectors Club to do your wedding because you're the nerdiest.
Hey, you're the coolest.
Yeah, we appreciate. I mean, come on. This is why it's a club. Please.
That's it. Yeah. So that was great. Man, that was so fun. I've never performed a wedding before, and I wrote this whole speech about love and knowing oneself and all this stuff. It was really fun, and the wedding was gorgeous, and it was such a good time.
It's great. It's always tricky when you're a performer and you're the officiant to like not make it about you.
I know. I know. But I think I did. I think I managed to. But then the next morning, the wedding is Saturday night, Sunday morning, I had to leave the hotel at like 6 a.m. to get on a flight to Miami because I was doing visuals for that band Jungle I work with for their DJ sets at like this electronic music festival at Art Basel. It was like the last night of it. So like that, I was just like, I had to like, okay, like pace yourself at the wedding. Like, don't get drunk. Don't want to be hungover tomorrow. I did it. Just honestly at a wedding, tricky because they're just like, more wine.
It's impossible.
And then, just did this amazing gig at the festival, controlling this massive stage with this lighting director was really good. And we're like on comms, calling the show. There were flame cannons, lasers, just fun stuff. It was a great week. And then I came home and
busy boy.
Worked and the day after I got home, and now here we are.
Hey, man, busy artist. You're like a hardcore multimedia artist.
I'm trying to be, man. Running around the world. Doing something.
Well, great. Well, I'm glad to be back with you. And
yeah,
I guess since it's the new year, I'll just remind everybody that even though the holidays are over, there is some merch still available, as always, in our Fourth Wall shop. So find a link to that in the show notes. And if you want to submit a name like 34-year-old man, then come join us over at BCC Clubhouse on bcc.supercast.com, where you will get access to 3 bonus episodes every month. If you were missing us over the holidays, you would have gotten all new episodes over the course of December. And you can also choose to upgrade to receive ad-free episodes and cosmic tracks from Riley. And now we're doing a thing where we're releasing every Monday classic ad-free episodes, going all the way back to the first episode. We're like hitting around episode 10 at this point, and I will say people are loving it. There's a whole channel devoted to it on the Discord. I know there's a lot of y'all that haven't like started over from the beginning or started from the beginning. And this is a really great way to do it because you don't have to listen to any advertisements, which is the way that we would prefer this show to be. But in order to keep the lights on, we have to do stuff like this. So come on over to bcc.supercast.com. Okay, well, what should we do? Should we do a little BCC news or should we do a little... let's do some little BCC news first. I'm gonna say, and then we'll get into my own update. Okay.
So you want to do some...
That's right. BCC News. Well, Riley, towards the end of 2025 and now the beginning of 2026, it's just impossible to escape the conversation about disclosure. In fact, as of this recording yesterday, Steven Spielberg just teased the new UFO movie that he's releasing this summer.
Ooh, that's exciting.
With a billboard in Times Square that features like an outline of a bird and an eyeball looking through it. And it said like disclosure is coming, something like that.
Okay.
Like what did it actually say? But it's teasing that this UFO movie is going to tie into the disclosure conversation that we've been basically having for the past 5 years, at least, if not 7 years. No title for the movie yet, which maybe we'll have by the time this episode drops. I'm just looking up disclosure Steven Spielberg billboard to see if I can get the correct. All will be disclosed. That's what the catchphrase was. So
all right.
It's interesting, That's kind of. I wonder. It sounds like that they're going to have maybe this is going to be about Tic Tacs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, real kind of like heady, bureaucratic.
Maybe. I mean, maybe this is going to be like his close encounter of the modern era, where it's going to really kind of tie into the real, less E.T. and War of the Worlds and more like real world what's going on with UFO politics,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
some spaceships and aliens. We'll find out. I can't imagine that it'll just be about congressional hearings.
It's all just hearings and meetings. Yeah.
It's just all congressional hearings and MAGA congressmen. That's like basically all it is. It's like,
What a fun movie.
this movie is not what I was expecting. But
Yeah,
speaking of which, one of the big conversations that's been happening is this idea of underwater UFO bases. And MAGA Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee has been going on record as saying he thinks there are like 5 or 6 UFO underwater bases that these things are flying in and out of. Now, I don't know based on what.
That was the question. Yeah, I was like, he thinks based on what? What
mean,
what does he know here?
He's in these closed meetings with congressional leaders and people who are in the know in the government, I guess, about what they've got. Now, look. The longer all this goes on, the more I just feel like this is all we're not going to learn anything from the government. I really don't. I don't believe this.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I don't think it's coming. It's never going to come through them. I don't know where it's going to come. But this all led to me finding out about a recent news story on the increasingly right-wing website News Nation, but one of the best places to get UFO information. News Nation started out as pretty like center, and now I'm not sure. So,
I guess I always thought of it as like kind of.
It's neutral. It's neutral, but I don't know. There's a lot of again. This is a problem. Look, we're not trying to get political here, but the thing is, like UFOs, the right wing has such an ironclad grip on the UFO narrative when it comes to disclosure. So it's just hard to not bump into some of these people that I'd rather not read about. Fortunately, this story is not about Tim Burchett, but it's Tim Burchett underwater base adjacent, which is Catalina, California, Catalina Island.
That is close. Okay.
So there was an article recently on News Nation, I'll put a link in the show notes, where this boat captain named Thor Lysens has basically been recording lights off the coast of Catalina. He's seen an underwater lights claiming to see USOs. And there was recently a Google Earth image where people thought that they were seeing like a Catalina Island underwater base in Google Earth. So like Catalina Island is a hot spot right now. It always has been, but it's back in the conversation. So here we go. Catalina, California is an area known for strange sightings, and News Nation traveled to investigate the waters in the area and hear one witness's terrifying story. News Nation correspondent Ben Hansen traveled to the area using a remote-operated vehicle underwater to see how an unidentified submersible object, or USO, could hide under the waves and evade detection using an underwater canyon, because they can zip around with all the underwater caves and canyons down there.
Okay.
Hansen interviewed a man who has had multiple strange experiences while on the water near Catalina Island. Boat captain Thor Lysens recorded a video in 2021 showing 3 orange orbs over the waters around Catalina Island. The video was also taken in the same general area where the famous Tic Tac UFO encounter was documented by the military. Now, I did not know that the U.S. Nimitz Tic Tac UFO video was off the coast of Catalina Island.
I didn't know that either.
Why did this never come up in now, 8 years of doing the show?
Yeah, it was right in our backyard, man.
So there's a link that I'm going to put in the show notes, and around the 3-minute 34 mark in the embedded videos where you can see this orange light. Spoiler, it's just a dark video with like orange lights and a shaky handheld cam, but they're there if you want to look at them. The article goes on to say that video was tested for a logical explanation with little found. There were no emergencies or flares fired in that area and no nighttime drills from nearby Camp Pendleton. The Vandenberg did launch a SpaceX rocket with Starlink satellites that night, but it was 25 minutes before Laysan's sighting and 155 miles to the north. And I will say, having seen the video, it does not look like that.
Yeah.
We still get friends of the show who send in like, what am I looking at? And it's the Starlink. So public service announcement. Here's how you identify Starlink. If it looks like a long train of lights and it looks like something super spooky, it's Starlink.
It's Starlink,
Yeah. But those lights weren't Laysan's only encounter with something unexplained. One night on the water, Laysan's had another encounter. When the boat drove over the object, Laysan said it began flashing lights up, which he described as similar to stadium lights with a bright white appearance. We drove over something. I know the water's like 1,300, 1,400 feet deep. It drops off really deep out there, he said. Laysan's rejects the idea that it could have been naturally occurring phosphorescence or algae, which he is familiar with.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And it's a very like beautiful dull blue or green color out there. It glows a green color, he said, not the bright light he saw. The lights were in an area about 50 yards, Laysan's told New Nation. Sat there the rest of the night with a gun in my hand, waiting for something to come creeping out of the water, Laysan said. I was scared.
Hell yeah, you did, Captain Thor.
Captain Thor, gun ready to shoot them aliens.
Yeah. I believe Captain Thor. I mean,
do too.
the ocean is so mysterious. If I were aliens, I would be hiding in the ocean.
You know, we've talked about doing a like UFO quest out in the desert at some point with friends and see if we could summon some UFOs for the YouTube channel. I think we got to go out and spend a night Catalina Island and see if we can do something.
Quest Catalina.
Yeah.
Can we get anybody have a sailboat we can borrow?
Yeah. So UFO quest Catalina and UFO quest Death Valley. Something,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
These are the goals of 2026 right there.
Right there, baby.
Let's make this happen.
New Year's resolution. So yeah, I don't know. This area is it's got a lot of activity. I think it's very fun that it's back in the news chatter. You know, also I think like the UFO channels are like filling the, you know, the airwaves with stories until something else really truly breaks. But we have not covered Catalina Island on the show yet. I've never been there.
I've been there. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively easy for us to get there, you know? So
there's a ferry you can take from LA.
We can take a ferry there. Yeah. Like, we should absolutely go. I think that'd be a blast.
I don't know. Yeah. Dude, we should absolutely go to Catalina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Catalina Quest 2026.
It'd be really cool if we could find someone who has a boat. We can go out there.
I know.
Although, you know, getting on a boat of a stranger from the internet and going out into the oceans probably not a good idea.
I made sure to bring a gun too, boys.
Captain Thor's on board.
Let's talk to Captain Thor. Maybe he'll take us out there.
That would rule.
Come on, yeah. We're prestigious. We can get an interview with him. Get him on the podcast. We'll figure it out.
Let's
get him on. Okay, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, it'll be time for my personal paranormal update. Okay, everybody, before we get back into the show, Riley, I thought it would be nice to nominate our 5-star Club Scout of the Week. This is a friend who has gone on to Apple Podcasts and given us a 5-star review. We're running low on these lately. If you guys, gals, and non-binary friends could hop over and do that, that would be great, because the more activity we have in reviews, the more likely Apple Podcasts is to bump up the visibility of the show. So we would appreciate it.
Please help us appease our overlords.
That's right, please.
Help us appease like Jennifer Mary, who says, BCC pie breakdown. I don't know what that means, but that's the subject. I love this podcast. If this podcast happened to be a pie, there you go, there would be a slice of paranormal, a slice of spooky, a slice of history, a slice of humor, a slice of magical music, and a leftover heap of fun. Good pie. Michael and Riley are the best, and their guests are always interesting and entertaining. Thanks for making my commute so fun. Oh, well, thank you, Jennifer Mary. And
I love
you're
this.
very welcome.
I
Yeah.
love being a BCC pie.
I do too. I like the pie breakdown.
What kind of pie we'd have to be an apple pie, obviously.
Is that obvious? I'm kind of like a lemon meringue, like pecan kind of guy.
I think given a certain someone who haunts the clubhouse, we
You're right.
need to be an apple pie.
You're right. It's an apple pie. Yeah.
Is there such thing as applesauce pie? You ain't putting me in no pie. I ain't gonna be baked into a pie. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
An applesauce pie also sounds like something we can't discuss on this show.
Yeah. Sometimes we find them left around the clubhouse.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross. Okay, so let's get into a little personal paranormal update of my own. Now, let's just get to it. If you follow me on Instagram or social media, unfortunately, in early December, my dad passed away. So I have lost both parents now within a 2-year time span. Wild. It's been very wild as we record this. It's still very fresh. Yeah. So, but some, nothing like mind blowing, but like there have been already a couple things around my dad's passing that I was like, well, it would not be true to the spirit of the podcast for me not to talk about some of these things. So, because we've had guests share similar things like this on the show. So I thought, fuck it, let's talk about it. So I thought I would share some strangeness around the passing of my dad, if that's okay with you, Riley.
Of course. Yeah, no, of course, man. Hear about it.
So my dad wasn't like deathly ill or anything. So this was kind of sudden, but he did, he basically died of liver failure. And, when it happened very, very quickly. We knew that the liver didn't look great, but it wasn't like the doctors were saying last summer, like, he'll be around for a while. Don't worry about it. And then that turned out not to be true. But the weird, so this is very strange. And this also sounds like a humble brag, which I'm very aware of, which I don't want this to be. Because it's sort of like, whoa, I was right that my dad was going to die. But, so you may recall, and if you are a listener of BCC The Other Side, I have been feeding the squirrels in my driveway, my yard, basically for a couple months. And this was a thing that I loved, filming videos of the squirrels and sending them to my dad. And I had this big fat squirrel that I nicknamed Tiger because he looked like he had tiger stripes on his arms.
Right.
He was my Tiger, big fat boy.
Yeah.
So in November, we had a bunch of rains in Los Angeles. It was right before Thanksgiving, maybe a week or so. And I went out into the driveway the morning after one of the rainstorms, and there was all of this palm debris on the back of my driveway, like big chunks of palm bark everywhere. And I almost didn't notice that laying among the palm chunks was Tiger. Tiger had died. Whoa. And was laying there like waterlogged in the back driveway. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he was up in the palm tree and we had a bunch of winds that night and he fell out and died. He didn't look like he'd been hit by a car. There wasn't anything. Didn't look like he'd been attacked, but he was just laying there dead. And I was like, and then at first I thought I was like, oh my God, it's a huge rat. And then I realized that it was one of my squirrels. And the first thought I had was, oh no, my dad's gonna die. I had that.
Weird.
I had this thought.
Weird.
And that's because when other family members, including my mother, have passed, like I found a dead hummingbird in one of my flower pots, like a couple weeks before my mom died. And hummingbirds are the other thing that I take care of. And my mother loved hummingbirds. And then there's like been another dead bird associated with a death in the family. So I was just like, I had that thought. It was kind of an intrusive thought, you know. And then I quickly like went and got gloves, tended to poor Tiger. I was like kind of crying and I called.
Of course. Yeah.
I didn't want to like throw him in the dumpster. So I like called animal control and they're like, put him in a bag and, you know, set him out on the curb and they'll be by within 24 hours. Well, of course, like I put him in a cardboard box. I laid flowers on top of him, you know, like I put a little note that was like dead squirrel, sad face, don't touch, city coming to get. City never came to get him. So I ultimately had to.
Oh my God. They're like, yeah, we'll come tomorrow.
Yeah. They never showed up. And then I was
Oh my
like,
God.
I had to bury him gently in the dumpster, but still in the box. So that was just also like, so that was like the precursor. And it was a weird thing because I just got this bad feeling and I had that intrusive thought about my father. And then the weekend before Thanksgiving, Kate was in town and my dad sounded a little weird when I spoke to him on that Saturday, but then he was texting me all the rest of the day and he sounded okay. Sunday, I was busy with stuff and checked in with him in the evening and he didn't get back to me. And that night, I looked over at Kate and her friend was there and I was like, I got a bad feeling. I was like, my dad didn't check in with me today. It's so late. I knew he was having trouble sleeping. So I was like, it's so late right now that I don't want to call and wake him up, you know? But if I haven't heard from him by mid-morning tomorrow, I'm going to check in. Now, he lived in independent living in this really great community where they have security going by and checking on people. And they have like a system where they can tell whether or not people have like opened their front doors for the day. So I knew he would be checked on, and he also has like pull cords in there in case he fell, which he has in the past, and he could like crawl and like pull emergency cord. So there were bumpers in place, but
right.
So Monday morning, I'm texting, nothing back. I text again, nothing back, and finally I start calling, and doesn't answer. Kate's like, oh, but the night before, I even told Kate and her friend, I was like, I have a bad feeling. And when I saw that, and then she's like, okay. And then I was like, when I saw that squirrel, I thought my dad's going to die. And Kate was like, okay, well, let's try not to read too much into the squirrel thing. Right.
Yeah.
So then I call. She's like, call one more time. My dad picks up the phone. And he sounds very confused. And then I hear other voices in the room. And security has found him. He's been on the floor. I'm not sure for how long. Goes to the hospital. I fly out immediately the next morning. And then we're in the hospital for 8 days. And as his like liver starts to like shut down and he goes into organ failure. But one of the crazy things was he was seeing people in the room. In the hospital room. And the way that you hear stories about people seeing people in the hospital, like,
yeah,
he was confused. He had been hallucinating, but even a couple days into the hospital, he kept saying that there was a man with white hair and a white beard who was peeking out from behind the doorway. And he said there was another woman that he called the Onion Lady in the room with him because when he got his food delivered, she said, save some onions for me. And said that, and then he said that there was another woman who would stand in the hallway and look through the hallway door at him. Oh, and shit. He would be lucid carrying on conversation with you. And he, at one point he was like, Michael, come here. And he calls me over and he points out the doorway to the hall and he goes, do you see her? And this is so not like my dad at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is like not like him at all. And I'm like, no, I can't. He's like, you can't see that woman? And I'm like, no, I think you're, he could have been hallucinating.
Sure.
But I was also like,
even if he is, like, what is a hallucination?
Right. And I go, yeah. I think you're he goes, I am seeing a woman there. And I go, I believe you. I think you're seeing things that I cannot see. And I said, describe her to me. And he's looking out, like, he's like, she's, I don't know, in her 80s, elderly woman, gray hair. And he turns his head away and he starts talking. And, you know, after about 30 seconds, I'm like, is she still watching us? And he looked back over and he goes, yeah. And I go, what is she doing? He goes, she's just staring at the two of us. And I was like, okay. But he kept talking. Oh, and then the other thing he said to me later in the week is, I had said, have your friends been around? And he said, no. And I think by this point he was getting more lucid, but I also think he was self-conscious that, like, you know, he wanted to get out of the hospital. So he didn't want to keep talking about people that weren't there.
Right.
But he did say to me, he goes, you know, I have seen the man with the beard before. And I said, when? And he goes, when your mother was in the hospital. And it was the same hospital that my mom passed in. And I said, you saw that guy when mom was dying here? And he nodded his head and he went, yeah. So he didn't recognize him. He didn't know who he was. But I just thought this was like very, very wild, you know?
Dude, I mean, truly, what a surreal experience to have your father telling you this. Like,
and he'd be like, there he is right now. And I go, what did he do? He's like, he just gave me the thumbs up. He's like, they always show up when the food arrives. But
oh my God,
that stuff was crazy because you hear about, like, people start, I mean, we were trying to, he never knew his father. So we're like, maybe the guy with the beard's his dad. And then my cousin thought, his niece thought that maybe the onion lady could have been my dad's sister who passed when she was like in her late 40s. You know, we don't know. Or they're just like people around the hospital who
just hanging out around.
Hang out. Yeah. Or some sort of, you know, spirit guide or ancestor or something. Or I don't know. He's tripping his balls off. I don't know. But what was so strange is he'd be so locked in talking about something that, like, fully engaged and lucid, and then be like, oh, there they are. And just be completely distracted. Be like, look, can you see them? Can you see them? You know?
Wow. Dude, that is really wild.
Yeah. Super strange. And then he passed on, he basically slipped into a deep sleep and then passed on the evening of December 2nd. And so then, of course, like, you know, I was like, oh, this is so strange, because I had that thought when I saw the squirrel, and, like, in a weird way, I felt like I was like, this is so fucked up. Like, I knew this was going to happen. Like, I had just had this guilty, weird feeling about it, you know? And even Kate was like, and her friend were like, holy shit, dude, I cannot believe you said that. And then you know what I mean?
And it happened. Yeah.
And it happened. And the one other thing that around it that I thought was interesting, and again, this could be easily explained, this might be a coincidence, but I didn't think about it right away. But the morning after my mother died, a family of deer walked into my sister's front yard, which is not unusual. There are deer in that neighborhood all the time, but it was like a female deer and her young were standing in the yard, like looking through the window, like 10 feet from the window from us. Yeah. And I even took pictures of that moment. I was just like, even if this isn't a sign from mom, this was just like a very beautiful, poignant image to wake up to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the day my father died, it was really interesting because we had this horrible snowstorm the day before. And then the day that he passed, it was sunny and it was beautiful. And he loved painting when he was younger. He was an incredible artist. And when he was younger, he used to paint these like really pretty snowscapes. And so the day he passed, I was like, man, it looks like one of Dad's paintings today, you know? So that like really brought me, you know, just some nice, you know, peace with the moment that was happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next morning, I had spent the night at my cousin's house. Actually, so it wasn't the exact next morning, but the morning after, I was at my cousin's house.
Okay.
And I woke up and my cousin's wife was like, I woke up this morning and she took a photo and she goes, there was a huge buck with like 8-point antlers walking down the middle of the street. And where they live, they never get deer crossing through, let alone this like big boy, daddy
like a
deer walking through.
Yeah.
And she took photos of it.
Deer. Yeah.
And they've lived in that neighborhood for close to 2 decades. And they're like, we have never seen a deer wandering on its own up this deep into the neighborhood. And but for a second I was like, oh, that's wild. And then I was like, wait, we saw deer the morning after my mom died, So I don't know. So there was some like correlating symbolism there,
I mean, I would take it further than that. I think you have like nature magic blood.
Dude.
Like you're like the type of wizard you are is the one that's like in the woods.
Right. Yeah.
And like the you go into the tree and then it's this big manor.
Yeah, Radagast the Brown style.
Yes, like this is full. Everything you told me is like you are like nature wizard, and it's been like passed even if unknowingly through your blood. Like
yeah.
Those stories are wild. I think beautiful too.
I think it runs in the family for sure because my sister's so good with animals. My parents were great with animals, so it's just very strange that there was so much like animal symbology throughout this, and then couched with my dad seeing people who were not there in the hospital and being able to take his eyes away for a long period of time and look back and see them still standing there,
Yeah.
It was wild. So again, nothing like overtly, quote unquote paranormal, but just weird, I don't know, some weirdness going on, some strangeness around his passing for sure.
Yeah. All of this too is also like you paying attention like to these symbols as they come up around you and like interpreting them and making sense of them. Like, you're open to the reading these things that are happening,
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, that's all that it even matters, like the squirrel thing could have been an intrusive thought, but it happened,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess like if I dreamt that I found that squirrel, then I would have like maybe come to the same conclusion of like, oh, you connect this squirrel with your dad and like you're worried about your dad, So I think sometimes it is just about like what reading into the living symbology that's around you. And it's hard to like go, well, the morning after my mom passed, we saw a female deer in the front yard. And then 2 mornings after my dad passed, in a place where we shouldn't have seen one, there was a male deer walking down the street. It's kind of hard not to be like, in the world of Michael's book of symbols, there seems to be a direct correlation. Yeah, it's like, okay, mom's spirit and now dad's spirit, it's like, okay, they've passed on,
And him like seeing through the veil, in the hospital. And that's really
that stuff.
Wild.
Even the nurses were like, oh yeah, people see stuff all the time here. It's like it's really not, it's not uncommon for people to start seeing strangers or, sometimes people talk about seeing loved ones in the room. My dad didn't do any of that. These were all people he didn't know, but really weird stuff.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. And sad,
Well, of course.
But it's just, it was a wild couple weeks. And, I think, I was going through my dad's phone the other day and I happened to go into his podcast app and he had an episode of the show pulled up, that he had hit pause through. And, my dad, he, I like telling funny stories about my dad on the show over the years and on the other side. But he did love animals and like, he kind of rolled his eyes at ghosts and UFOs, but weirdly, he was very open to the idea of Bigfoot. Like, he really thought, we lived in Colorado when I was a baby. I think he always held the door wide open for the idea that there could have been a primate. But he wouldn't have been into the portal stuff. No.
Yeah.
But he was very, very much like open to the idea of there being an undiscovered primate that was very intelligent and very good at avoiding humans, like a relic hominid. And I appreciate that about him. I think I got some of my early love of Bigfoot from him because he never was like, ugh, whatever,
Right. Yeah. He had he kept the door open for a little whimsy. He's like, well, maybe.
Yeah. He'd surprise you like that every now and then. So I appreciate it, Dad, and I love you, and I'll miss you. Yeah. But yeah, some weird stuff. I just wanted to make note for the record for the clubhouse. And if anything else pops up, no dreams yet, no visitation feelings, none of that stuff. But if anything else pops up, I'll, of course, talk about it because I think we should encourage people to share these things, as they happen.
Absolutely. And it's nice that throughout this very, difficult process, you found these moments of like poetry and beauty, and like a sense of like knowing of your universe and your environment,
Yeah.
It is nice that you found those moments and had those moments, and they've carried through both of these. Like, I mean, this is like one of the hardest things. It's like losing your parents. It's like,
yeah,
truly. So having had those, like, I don't know, it's impressive. It's nice. It's beautiful, and
I will say with both of them, and my uncle, who I was also very close to, like, some of the worst moments were juxtaposed with some of the most beautiful moments I've ever had in my life, and there's something so reassuring in those moments to have something that feels so clear that like things are okay ultimately,
Yeah. That's the word, reassurance. That really is. Yeah.
Whether it's and for me, to your point, it's always been through something in nature,
Yeah.
Which is, I think we have to lean on, in moments where you're like, okay, there's a cycle to life, and like, look at this beautiful thing that we're a part of, this is it, nature is the big, the Mother Nature oversees all of this. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for letting me share.
Of course. Let's read some letters.
All right, let's get into it. Why don't we take a break? We'll come. Yeah, let's take a break.
Yeah,
and then we'll come back and let's dive into some L files.
All right.
Okay, Club Scouts, it's time to dip back into the L files, also known as the listener files. These are stories of the unexplained that have happened to you, and we're going to kick off with a couple of follow-ups. So do you remember Mystery Yeet person, our friend Heather?
How could I forget?
Who saw the blue UFO floating through the trees, and we're like,
yes,
you had a personal UFO experience. Well, Heather's back with another follow-up about UFOs, Riley.
Whoa, okay. All right, let's get into it. Heather says, y'all, I saw another more classic UFO, literally a street over. Whoa. Same time, almost 6 a.m. Now, since I've seen the blue light, I've seen aircraft in the sky that you could clearly make out as an airplane. The blinking light, the light on the wings, the shape of it, clearly airplane. There is an airport nearby. I don't know how to describe the shape of it. It wasn't a triangle, it wasn't an octagon, but kind of a combination of the two. Could cover it with my palm. If I had to guess, I'd say it was not very far above the tree line. It had 6 lights on it and one and additional blinking in the middle. Oh, okay. 6 lights on it and an additional one blinking in the middle. I saw it go over the tree line, so I was trying to hurry to get to the clearing so I could see it clearer. Within 3 seconds, it was coming in the opposite direction over me again.
Whoa.
That is wild, yeah. I definitely think there's something to the correlation of Fae and the UFO, because that blue light did seem more like Fae, as Riley mentioned. It had 6 lights, 3 on each side, but it didn't come to a point like a triangle. The other part was hard to see because the craft was black against a night sky and the lights only accented part of it. It wasn't going very fast. There were just a lot of trees passed over by my car and then I couldn't see it anymore. Almost wish I got out to look at it, but then again, I don't want to be abducted. Smart move. Much appreciation for the outlet to talk about these things. Heart emoji, Heather.
And if you scroll down, she did a little
drawing,
doodle
I like the drawing.
to show us how the 6 lights. So it's basically like a V shape where the point of the V is like the cone is shaved off a little bit. And then sort of a question mark and a dome over the area
like
that
ice cream cone shaped.
Yeah,
kinda.
I would say this is like diamond shaped or ice cream cone shaped, maybe. But I mean, this is wild. This is like a full other
like
type
cruising
craft.
around. Yeah.
What
I wonder if the
area is this?
Yeah, where are you, mystery yeet person?
Why are you so mysterious, yeet person?
It's but it sounds like kind of like the movement was sort of interactive a little bit, doesn't it? Like it kind of as she's noticing it, it's like sort of cruising around and coming in and out.
It had 6 lights, 3 on each side. The other part was hard to see, but the craft was black against the night sky, and the lights only accented part of it.
Yeah,
it was just going past a lot of trees, passed over my car, and I couldn't see it anymore. I mean, I hate to tell you, Heather, you see one more of these, you got to get out of the car and you got to take some video.
Yeah, they're coming specifically for you at that point. You gotta go say what's up.
Yeah, they're gonna pick you up whether you like to or not. So get a video.
Might as well get a pic. Yeah,
this seems like it's moving slow enough that you could have gotten us some video. So
yeah,
you've been commissioned next time. I don't know. What do you think? I'd like to know where this is. At this point, I would like to look up your area, Heather, so we won't blast it out on the show, but if you can give me and Riley some like coordinates or a Google map pin, I want to start looking into where you're at because I want to see if there's other UFO activity happening in the area that people are witnessing. Because, you know, that first one, the little blue light, that seemed like maybe that was just for you. But something like this, I feel like other people are going to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of cross-correlate that and see if anyone else is seeing these things. It's interesting, too, when it's by an airport and you know what you usually see. You're used to seeing things in the sky.
Yep.
And then you see something and you're like, that's not right. You know?
Yep. And listen, as someone who grew up next to an airport, we got very used to seeing lights overhead and planes, small commercial planes and prop planes. Like, you know it because it's like cars driving by your house at that point.
Yeah, you know the sound, you know what it feels like, you feel it approaching, all that stuff.
Yeah, you'll be so used to the sound you won't even look up to see the plane going overhead. So, people know. So I think something's happening here. I want to hear more. Keep us updated, Heather, and get us some video. Come on. Get some video.
BCC exclusive.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We have something from T. Hello again, BCC boys, and maybe a guest, another follow-up. I'm T, and this email will just be a quick rundown of all the ghosts I have seen in my old childhood home in Reedsville, North Carolina. Great.
Love
Here we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
Buckle up for childhood ghost house.
All right, T.
Let's begin. My family moved from New Hampshire to this home in 2005, and I was around 7 years old. We spent 5 years in this big, beautiful, unique, and totally spooky as hell house. This one place would forever cement the belief in the paranormal in me, and for good reason. Anyway, it all started one night soon after moving in. I was in the living room doing my homework when I got the feeling on the back of my neck that I was being watched. I quickly turned around and saw for a full 2 seconds on the upstairs balcony behind the railing a little girl with long, dark hair in light-colored pajamas holding a teddy bear.
Oh, God.
She had this cliche ghostly green glow to her, and she freaked me out so much that I didn't finish my homework. Now, that's a very good excuse.
That is a good excuse, yeah.
I'm sorry,
green
teacher.
Teddy bear girl.
The green teddy bear girl was staring at me from the balcony.
I couldn't finish my fractions.
The next encounter I remember was just lying in bed one night, holding the blankets over my head, terrified of the dark presence I felt slowly dominating my room.
Ooh.
When I took down the blankets to check if anything was actually there, I was met with the solid black as void silhouette of a man with short dreadlocks looming over me 6 inches from my face.
Oh, God.
Predator! The Predator's in her room.
Yeah.
I screamed, and the memory ended there. Next is the haunted clothes hamper my younger sister had hanging from her closet door. This is great because I do love...
This is like the Addams Family this person grew up in.
I'm full. I've had too many dirty clothes today. Save some for another day. I do love like the kid, like what inanimate objects scared you in your house when you grew up, you know? Okay. It was the top half of the Cat in the Hat with the net hanging from its outstretched arms. Okay, so this was a hamper that had eyeballs. This makes sense.
Yeah.
Its gaze would follow me or my sister around the room constantly, no matter what. We would close the windows, open them, blow on it, push it or twist it, run by it, and it would always follow us, constantly watching. Now, while that's it for the direct encounters... Wait, so just... This Cat in the Hat hamper wasn't necessarily... It was
just always watching.
It was just always watching. Okay.
Always watching. Yeah.
While that's it for the direct encounters, there were many parts of the house itself that had just a terrible vibe to them that I couldn't stand to be there alone. Namely, the laundry room, my mom's den, my grandmother's downstairs apartment, and worst of all, the whole upstairs with my sisters and my room and bathrooms. Okay, so
that sounds like the house.
The whole house.
Yeah.
So like the kitchen and the mud room, I guess, are basically fine. Yeah. My closet and bathroom especially felt straight up murderous, and stuff would move around in there when I wasn't looking. By the way, the house was only built in 1995, so not old at all. Well, again, we'll say it's not the house, it's the land. We finally moved to another town, but I'm pretty sure some things followed me because the activity hasn't stopped. But that's a story for another, probably super long L-file. Sorry. Anyway, till next time, T.
What a sign off. Leave them wanting more, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Setting up part 2. That's
okay.
Insane.
Yeah. What a childhood, too.
Yeah. The Cat in the Hat thing.
Girls.
I don't even think that Cat in the Hat hamper needs to be haunted to be spooky. It just sounded unnerving.
That's a spooky hamper. That's all that is.
Just a spooky hamper. Yeah. Okay. Should we do... Gosh, we're already almost at an hour. Should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more. Huh?
Okay, let me pull this one. This is a little bit of a longer one. I think it'll flesh it out. If you don't mind, do you mind if I read back to back?
My brother, go for it.
Okay. You'll see why I wanted to read this one.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, BCC boys and guest. No, just us. Longtime listener, first time caller. I'm a big fan of the podcast. You guys are awesome. I love hearing all the stories of high strangeness that you guys share. I think it's about time I shared one of my stories of high strangeness. Michael, you will appreciate this one. I call it the ghost of Darth Vader.
Okay.
Growing up, I was scared of everything. It doesn't help that I'm sensitive to the paranormal. Oh, unfortunately, my dad loved scary movies. He was always watching them. We'll come back to this. I shared a room with my younger brother that looked into the living room of the house. I had a lamp that I used as a nightlight because I was scared of the dark. I'm not sure if this helped or hindered because I could see everything. Hard relate, I used to sleep with the lights on when I was a kid. Weird stuff happened all over that house. I would often wake up in the middle of the night when no one else was awake. This is when the weird stuff would happen, either in my bedroom or on the long walk to the bathroom. My toys would move on their own. The TV in the living room turned on by itself one night. I had a Gravedigger monster truck flag that I had pinned to the wall, fall off the wall, and stand straight up.
What?
I had a robot monkey alarm clock started talking to me with no batteries in it.
Whoa.
Some nights I would try to close the door only to wake up to it being open. I had a beaded curtain that I pulled in the doorway, thinking it would be cool. That made it
was.
Yeah, because it was, dude. It's like the divider between the family friendly section and the not so family friendly section of the video store.
Yes. The chill zone.
That made it worse because the curtain would move on its own at night like something was coming through it. I had a mean ex-feral pet cat named Hot Rod. First of all, you lived in the coolest 80s room of all time.
This whole story is just like the super cool 80s.
Like Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
Yeah,
My dad found him in the engine of his car at work and brought him home. I would pick Hot Rod up and make him lay at the end of my bed at night. I figured if the ghost wanted me, it would have to go through him, and he was a badass. He would sometimes perk up in the middle of the night and stare out the door. Honestly, I think Hot Rod helped because the weird stuff slowed down when he was there. This is why you always need a familiar. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I would get freaked out so much I could literally run upstairs to my parents' bedroom and sleep on the floor by their bed. I would literally run up the stairs and sleep on the floor by their bed. That was a safe space. My parents' bedroom's second floor was an add-on to the original house, which is why I think nothing really happened there. I slept on that floor for several nights over the years, and then almost a month in a row. My dad had had enough. My dad chalked all the weirdness up to my overactive imagination and the fact that he was scaring me with the movies that he watched. He told me it was all in my head and that I needed to sleep in my own bed. He bribed me. Dad wasn't getting laid, so
yeah, he's like, all right, kid.
Time for you to go back to bed. He bribed me to stay in my own bed for a month. He said if I could do this, he would give me a Medal of Bravery from the Army surplus store down the road. From that point on, I stayed in my own bed and toughed out all the hauntings. Trust me, I earned that medal. I spent those long nights thinking my lucky little brother had no idea the horrors that were happening. Over the years, more stuff happened even during the day. One afternoon, I was studying for a test in high school with my door open. A book fell off my shelf, and then I heard loud footsteps going towards the door. The doorknob turned and flew open, and the footsteps continued around the corner. It sounded like it bumped my book, then ran out the door like it got busted sneaking around. It was so distinct that I thought my brother opened my door and ran off. I went out looking for him. Both my brother and my dad were playing basketball in the backyard. Fast forward a few years or so, I was in college at this point. I don't know how it came up, but I jokingly told my brother that I thought our parents' house was haunted. He laughed and said, "Oh yeah, it's definitely haunted." I was shocked. I thought this whole time he didn't know. He said he'd used to see a very tall, dark, human-shaped figure with a weird-shaped head looking into our bedroom at night. He said sometimes the figure would even come into our room. He said the figure was so tall it took up the whole doorway, and his head looked like Darth Vader's helmet. So we now call this entity Darth Vader. I was mad at him because all those years I was freaked out and he didn't say a word about seeing Darth Vader. He said he thought it would just freak me out more. He was right. Fast forward again a couple more years. In my 20s, I was down on my luck and moved back in with my parents. I took back my old room. My parents were out of town. I invited my girlfriend at the time to come over and swim in the hot tub.
Nice.
I'm going to pause and say I think she was maybe a little sensitive to the supernatural herself. It gets late, and I invited her to stay with me for the night because she lives 30 minutes away. We're laying in bed and about to go to sleep when she shrieks, pulls the cover over her head, and tucks into me. She says, "Something just fucking came into this room." I laughed and said, "No way," even though I saw it too. She pulled the blanket off her head and said it was a giant human-shaped figure, but its head was weird-shaped, like it had a helmet on.
Confirmation.
She was so freaked out she went home. I never told her about my brother seeing Darth Vader. On another night when my parents were gone, we got back from a date late and she reluctantly agreed to stay with me. This time I closed the door thinking it would help. My back was killing me this night, so I asked my girlfriend if she would try to pop it. She laughed and said yes. I laid on the floor and she sat on my back. About this time, the door handle turned slowly and the door opened. She hopped off my back and said, "We weren't doing anything. We thought it was my parents coming home early." There was no one at the door. Needless to say, she did not stay with me that night. Man, Darth Vader, quite the cock blocker on multiple generations of this family.
Yeah.
To this day, I'm 33 now. When I stay with my parents in that old house, weird stuff happens. My old toys move, my dog makes noises at nothing, and I hear unexplained noises. In fact, on October 11th this year, I was babysitting my parents' dog, Rudy. This time I stayed in my brother's high school room that looks into the kitchen. Rudy was sleeping in the doorway. I woke up to him growling. When I looked out into the doorway at what he was looking at, I saw Darth Vader himself standing in the kitchen looking into the bedroom I was in.
Dude.
Does anyone want pancakes?
I thought I was hallucinating, so I tried to get the picture with my phone. When I took the picture, he didn't show up, but he was still there.
What a weird experience.
I marked on a note in my phone titled Shadow Person. I woke up the next morning and the picture was gone, but the note was still there, and it was marked that I wrote it at 3 a.m. on October 11th, the witching hour.
Dude.
I do finally have my dad convinced that there's something funky going on in the house since he had witnessed some of these strange happenings. My dad has also mentioned that the house is old. He said that all the houses on our street used to be next to the lake, or where the lake currently is. One day, the city came through and moved all the houses to where they are today so they wouldn't be washed away. That's creepy. I don't know.
Bizarre.
I had no idea if this history contributes to the haunting, but maybe it does. What I do know for sure is that for some reason, Darth Vader lives there and he's a creeper. That's all I've got for today. I got a little more in depth with this than I thought I would, but it was kind of fun reliving it all. I have so many more stories, but I'll have to save them for another time. I had an email for Big Strange Vacation of short spooky stories that all happened to me on vacations, but I didn't make it in time. I can send some of those other stories over sometime if you'd like. Thanks for reading, and thanks for all your guys' hard work and for making this podcast amazing. Till next time, James. Thank you, James. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
send those other stories over.
Yeah.
I love a recurring shadow figure, and I love that it's taking the form of Darth Vader.
And that it was seen by multiple people on different occasions without any prior knowledge.
I wonder if this is some sort of egregore that's like pulling into the boys' minds to find a form that might intimidate them and coming out as Darth Vader, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool, I gotta say. Darth Vader's shadow person is pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah,
and this house is absolutely haunted.
100%.
Yeah, no question about it.
No question there. Yeah. Wow.
Guys, what are we doing with talking monkey alarm clocks? That's, first of all,
every one of those little details was such a sort of cinematic 80s movie moment, you know?
Like, but no robot monkeys anymore, everybody.
Let's just not build them.
Let's not make them.
You are asking for a ghost to get in there.
Yes, we don't need this. Awesome, James. Thank you.
Yeah,
Haunted
great
house.
Story. Keep them
you
coming.
guys are all sensitive, 100%. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Man,
Riley. I love that at this point in our lives we can get a letter that says long-time listener, first-time caller, and it's like that's a real thing that exists in our lives now.
Yeah, I know. It's technically not a call, but we'll take it.
We'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it.
By the way, 2026, let's make this year the voice memo. Record a voice memo. Email it to us.
Yeah.
Let's get your voice on the show. If you can keep
Send
it
them in, guys.
to 5 minutes or less, that would be ideal. But yeah, send those over. We want to get more of your voices on the show. I think that would be so fun. So let's make that another New Year's resolution. All right, Riley, let's just wrap it up.
Michael.
We'll skip Collector's Corner this week unless you got something major going on that you want to plug. I don't have anything. Uh-oh.
I got a flute in Guatemala. That's my Collector's Corner.
Great. All right. If you, everyone at home, you want more BCC or would like to listen ad-free, join us at BCC Clubhouse at bcc.supercast.com. Get 3 bonus episodes every month on BCC The Other Side, ad-free episodes, and monthly music releases from Riley on Cosmic Tracks. Maybe you'll hear that Guatemalan flute at some point in the near future. Find the link to that in our show notes and in our Instagram bio at Bigfoot Collectors Club. If you have a story that you want to share, please send it into us at BigfootCollectorsClub@gmail.com. I forgot to mention that at the top of the show. All right. If we don't see you over on the other side, we will see you next Wednesday for an all-new episode of BCC. Until then, good night.
And go get yourself regressed.
Go
and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Come on
Get
now.
yourself regressed. Come on now. Get yourself regressed. Happy New
Come
Year
on.
2026. I hope it doesn't suck as bad as the other ones did. Break it down. Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced and engineered by Riley Bray and executive produced by Riley Bray and Michael McMillian. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. Follow Suneaters on Spotify. For 3 bonus episodes every month and ad-free episodes, check out BCC The Other Side at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.